to talk about how to analyze the modulation. Usually the music, they want to modulate to dominant or relative major to relative minor to relative major. So these are the three most common way of modulating in music. So let's look at the first one. First of all, you have to identify the key name of the first melody. Alright, so look at that. So that's key of D major. It starts with a D major broken chord. So the key name is a D major. Alright, so if there's key changes to dominant, you see that it ends with the scale degree number 5 of the tonic. So look at that. So it ends with the fifth note, which is A, and then they added the sharp next to G because A major's got 3 sharps, so they added the sharp next to G. Alright, that's how you know there was a key change to dominant. It ends with the fifth of the tonic. So this is one of the example. There's a key changes to dominant. You can see that by the accidental, and also you can see that by detecting the home note, the end of the phrase. Alright, so that was key change from D major to dominant, which is A major. Let's look at the next one. So again, let's identify the key name of the first melody. So that is also key of D major. And then let's look at the end of the phrase here, end of the second phrase. Alright, so you see that there is a raised seventh, okay, and then that second phrase ends with a B, so you know that there is a key changes going on there. So the B is a scale degree number of 6 of D, so you know that there's key changes from relative major to relative minor. Also you can see that by the accidental. Raise the seventh for B minor. So because B minor will have contain the raised seventh, that's how you have the sharp next to the seventh of B, which is A sharp. Okay, and then changes back to the relative major. Alright, so this is one of the examples where there's a key changes to relative major to relative minor. Okay, and then that melody ends with a scale degree number of 6, okay, of the tonic D. Okay, let's look at the next one. Let's identify the key name of the first melody. So that is, alright, key of F minor because it starts with F minor broken chord, alright, and also it contains the raised 7, which is E natural. So that's how you can assume this is starting with F minor. And then let's look at the home note of the last phrase, ends with A flat major. So this is one of the examples where there's key changes going on from relative minor to relative major. If there is a key change from minor to major, you know that it ends with the scale degree number 3 of the tonic. So the third of F, so which is A flat. So if there's key changes going on from relative major to minor, it ends with the scale degree number 6. If there's a key changes going on from relative minor to major, you see it ends with the scale degree number 3 of the tonic. If there's key changes going on to dominant, you see that the whole note, right, the last note of a phrase will end on the dominant scale degree number 5 of the tonic.